analytic level and the subsequent application in this informative webinar. Before we start, we are very much glad to inform you that we will be providing certificate of participations to all the participants who attend this webinar till the end in the registered email ID. Thank you once again for being the part of this webinar. It is requested to mute the mic, and if you need to ask any question or comment, sorry, at any point of time throughout the webinar, you can use the chat box at the bottom of the screen so that it does not disturb the course of the webinar. You can also raise your hand button while having any queries. All the queries and the questions will be addressed at the Q&A session of the webinar. I would like to take your attention to our short courses which are related with data analytics. Some of them are Essential of Data Analytics, the Executive Diploma in Data Analytics, and Basics of Data Analytics. The links are provided here. You can have a look at this course. Now, let me introduce today's speaker, Dr. Manjunath BR, academic success coach and a corporate trainer with an expertise in motivating learners to reach their academic potential. He is having 15 years of experience of combined industry and academic support and extensive knowledge in finance and business analytics. He has been engaged in delivering technical training on data analytics with the latest technology to management student and corporate aspirant. He is very much active in research and published over 85 papers, indexed in ABDC, Scopus, UGC, peer-reviewed journals and conferences. Thank you, sir. It's over to you. You can start ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Algar. Hello, everyone. I could see here, in fact, there is already a question for us. What is data and information in the Q&A box? In fact, that is what we actually look for to understand very first thing, what is data and why analytics? Well, it is a buzz in the world that people have started talking about data on one hand, analytics on the other hand. And today, if you look into most of the educational institutions, they are coming out with a lot of courses, the certification programs, especially in the area of analytics is concerned. Now, in that context, now, to understand more about what is all about this webinar, what is all about this analytics, which we are going to look at, can be summarized or can be just presented very quickly in front of you guys, saying that data is nothing but it is a response to a transaction. Now, the question which was asked here in the chat box inspired me to give the definition of a data at a very first shot itself, saying it is a response to a transaction. Now, when you purchase a handset, let's say a mobile device, if you're purchasing a mobile device, you will be paying money and then you will be taking a phone, the device, mobile phone, right? The transaction happened over there. When the transaction happens, there will be a kind of an invoice where your name, date, time, price, everything will be recorded in a particular piece of paper. And when something is getting birth, let's say the parameters, as I said, the price of a product, the time at which I purchased, the total value what I paid for that, all such kind of piece of information which are recorded, it is for the first time. And because of that transaction, the data is getting birth. And today it is huge. It is huge, meaning huge. You guys are familiar with the something called as Twitter, of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, and on these platforms, if you post something, if you like on something, if you comment on something, don't you think so that, yes, there is a transaction which is happening, and that is leading to a data gathering. Now, who wants that data? Why that data? What do we do with that data? Is all about which we would like to know in this particular webinar. Very simple words again, before I get into my first slide. Since there is a technology which is driving us Now, with the help of technology, the business houses, like say Amazon, they would like to get the data of the consumers and then take a right decision of selling a product for that particular consumer. And that is possible with the help of data analytics. And that is what now we will be looking forward. And yes, let me pull up here for the quick session on what is that we are looking at. Yeah, we all are living the world of technology driven. And without the technology, without the devices, electronic devices in our hand, we are nothing today. And that's how the today's world is all about. Therefore, whatever we do using our devices, electronic devices, like say, I want to purchase shoes, and that shoes is meant for sports. Now, when that shoes is meant for sports, what I'll do, I'll just simply go for the Google, and then I'll just check for the top brands in the world on the sports shoes. And definitely the Google search engine will be giving a list of brands which are available. And then I'll say I would like to purchase online. And these days, if you really search in such a way, that routes you to the Amazon, isn't it? You guys have already experienced that. If it is not routed to Amazon also, let us keep it in mind that now, for now, that Amazon is not popped up by the Google search engine. When we search for a particular product, the Google search, we look at the features, we look at the product, we look at the e-sellers websites also, not only Amazon, it could be Walmart, it could be some other prominent e-sellers, the like companies like Amazon from your country. Yeah. And after browsing everything, we will close the button and then we'll be busy in our own life. When we are busy in our own life, you know what happens? On one fine day, when you're browsing something on Facebook or LinkedIn, right hand side or the left hand side, you'll be seeing an ad, and that ad happens to be a sports shoes, which you just checked in the Google search engine, maybe weeks back or a month back. You might have searched for a particular product. And now, when you're browsing the social media or a professional network like LinkedIn, you will be seeing some ads and you feel like, oh my God, this is the right time. This was the product which I looked into in the last few days, and that is popping up. And you say your time is really good and your time is fantastic because you could see that again. And when you're seeing that again, the word again strikes you saying that, okay, I should go by. Now, you can think for a while, who is making you to take a decision? It is not you and your eyes by looking at the ad taking a decision, but yes, you are influenced by the companies which are buying the data of whatever you do on the Google search. And on the basis of that, on the basis of the IP address, you will be receiving the advertisements. And these days, with the help of technology, the companies are trying to make, like, say, my goodness, I'm really wondering where the world is heading towards. If I search for something, maybe in the next week, I'll be getting some information about that. Some links will be popping up, some notifications will be popping up. And of course, that is inspiring me, that is motivating me, and then it is making me to take a decision. Now, such kind of companies, they have started investing their money on the technology and the technological tools. There is one popular word which is called as the big data, right? There are so-called fancy certifications in the area for big data, like say Hadoop, Spark, Hive. People talk about big terminologies. And now the companies are investing money on that technology, and through the IP addresses of the users, and those users will be getting that product advertisement and in turn persuading them, influencing them to purchase a particular product. And they do that. How is it they do? They do on the basis of the analysis, on the basis of the data analysis. Definitely they would be requiring such kind of data to proceed further. Well, after giving this background, I would like to give a disclaimer. You don't have to just sit and listen to me. I would definitely love and encourage you guys. If you want to talk to me, if you want to ask a question at any point of time, you're most welcome. I'm here to share what I know, right? If you have something in your mind, Don't hesitate. Just come over there. I can also see here there are some questions in the Q&A, but at the same time, yes, you can also raise your hand. You can just ensure that unmute and then you can ask a question. Well, before I proceed with the next item, I have something here from Isha. I'm very happy to be a part of this webinar. Please, I'm an admin HR person. What is HR analytic? What is the advantage to HR person? Yes, one good thing is that in this particular webinar, after having a conversation with the officials, it was decided to have some of the examples related to the HR also. Yeah, the PowerPoint slides, which you will be seeing here now, has got some information about the HR analytics too. And this analytics is not only for a particular area. I was just throwing an example of I being a consumer searching for a particular product, and I get a kind of an ad or a notification from the seller or the one who sells that. Maybe you can call it as marketing. And if that analysis is done, that is called as a marketing analytics. And now if someone is from the area of finance, investments, stock markets or a share market, that person will be saying that I want to know what is the right investment to make investments. Yes, you can find an answer with the help of the business analytics. And business analytics is also in the area of finance, where you can forecast the stock prices. You can also make the analysis of the financial statements. I'm sure people who are sitting here are aware of the word financial statements, meaning is any company for the matter, let it be any company in the world, the company is required to prepare three important statements: balance sheet, profit and loss account, and cash flow statement. Yes, these are the three statements any company has to prepare. And using those financial statements, can I do analysis? Yes, I can do the analysis. I get the data of that particular company and I make the analysis using the tools, technological tools. And then I get the insight whether I can invest or not. In the same way, since there was a question on the HR, we are already here saying that we are in the world of technology. The great challenge for the HR is that to forecast the employee turnover within the organization. What is the most likely turnover in the next 3 months on the basis of the past records? That is one. And the second important thing is you will have to make sure that there is something called as performance appraisal. Every employee of an organization looks for a performance appraisal, meaning an increase in the salary or an increase in the ladder step in terms of the promotion. Yes, for that also, to make analysis quick and quickest, you need analysis. You need analytical skills. And for that, this business analytics is the starting phase to proceed with your respective analytic world. Now, after looking into these kind of examples, we understood that there's a huge amount of transactions which are happening. Now, when I say transaction, when you search something in a Google search engine, that is called as a transaction. The moment when the transaction happened, that moment itself, the data is taking a birth and the data is ready for the Google. And if Amazon pays money and then take the data from the Google, and after taking that data, applying the tools on that data with the help of experts like you and me, who are good in terms of the business analytics, we help the organization to take the decision to make the meaningful insights. I always have a statement which I generally say wherever I go for training. Data is like a baby. Yeah, data is like a baby. You will have to nurture that data in a way you want it. Like how you nurture a baby, in the same way, you will have to nurture the data, because all statistical analysis, all statistical tools, techniques are available. If you click on something, something you will get. And that is what today's world is. But you should be knowing where is that you're clicking, what kind of test you're performing, what kind of statistics you're applying, so that you'll get the meaningful or the desired answer or a solution. So with that mindset, we have to proceed and then understand what is all about this business analytics. You can see here in my slide, I've shared a couple of information, not for me to read, but of course it is for you guys to make a couple of notes, and then maybe you can throw the questions to me. We use a word called as the data sets most of the time. The reason is that if I let us assume in such a way that this is a basket, okay, this is a basket. In this basket, if I have all the data, just assume for this, because we cannot see this, we will have to visualize that, we will have to critically evaluate that. Okay, this is a basket, and there is a data inside this basket. Now, what do I do with this data? Now, I call this basket as a data set, which is available. Now, in reality, where do I see the data set? A very simple example is your spreadsheet or an Excel file. The moment when you open the Excel file, you will see something inside the Excel, maybe alphabets or the numericals or the mix of that alphanumerical, some table, some data, and you call it as a data. Data is sitting in that Excel, and Excel is one of the database to hold the data. Now, when we have this data, we need to have an approach called as quantitative, not the qualitative. When I look at you, when you look at me, you take a decision whether I am making a sense or not on the basis of the way how we speak here. It's a qualitative. But the quantitative is that you need something to measure. You need something to measure. And the analytics world always demands that we have no emotion. Yes, we should have no emotion on the data, because we should have that capacity to say what the data is saying. Now, let's say in your country, yeah, I can take a very simple example. Throughout the world, this is popping up now, Adani. Unless until I have some quantifiable numbers or measuring numbers, how can I comment on that particular case? Because on a daily basis, we are seeing that the stock prices are falling. Right. Therefore, that is just a quick example that when we talk about the analytics, we need to have a critical ability mind in terms of ensuring that the measurability or quantifiable is one of the characteristic feature. Is data analytics in demand in everywhere, like Bangladesh, like USA? There is a question in the Q&A there. Of course, data analytics is all about today's in demand, and it is the hottest cake in the world. I would strongly recommend for the person who has posed that question here. Yes, we have moved from traditional days to the modern days. We are no more looking for papers, the calculators to calculate, or papers to write, and then take the decisions. Do you know that people have already stopped looking for the PPT, the Excel-based PPTs, because there are already the presentations which are called as interactive dashboards. If you click on something, something will pop up, and they are called as the creative dashboards. Yeah, they are prepared using tools like, say, the Tableau, Power BI. Like that, we have so many tools in the world which can be used. Yeah. So there is a popularity everywhere, and we need to make use of it. And that is the reason today we are here. I'm from a different part of the world, and you are from a different part of the world, but we have one common agenda, that is to talk on the analytics, and it is everywhere. Now, this analytics, if someone asks me saying that I want to be very good, say professional in the area of analytics, what is the first thing I'll have to look at? So it's a very simple question indeed, but the answer is not that great. But yes, you need to have something in your mind, that the statistics and the management. Because when I say analytics, it is a combination of the management and the statistics. The reason is very simple. If I ask you, what do you mean by management? You will be giving so many examples, I'm sure about that. Now, when I have the alternatives, okay, when I have the alternatives, a very simple example, when I have the alternatives, I need to select one among these alternatives as the best. For that, you need to have a skill of analyzing. Being another skill is the managerial skill. You need to have a managerial skill in terms of ensuring the right alternate, identifying the right alternate as the best decision. Now, before getting the alternates, you will have to play with the data. Yeah, I'm using a word here, play with the data. How do you play with the data? You will be playing with the data with the help of statistics. Yes, with the help of statistics. Before I get into more about the statistics, I have two questions. Let's see there. It says, How did technology improve procurement? What are the effects in technology? Yes. See, the technology today has grabbed the entire world. I can give one more example as a chat GPT, probably which you guys are hearing every now and then. Chat GPT is trying to replace us, right? But here now, the importance of the technology, how is that the technology will be helping us? There were systems, there were laptops, there were computers. Just go back 5 years. 5 years back when you had a laptop or a computer, the configuration was not that great. And today, if you just compare your laptop, today's laptop and 5 years laptop, you'll be feeling that, oh my God, my laptop is so fast. Now, why is it you're saying your laptop is fast? It's a technological advancement. It is the effect. It is the effect of the technological driven world. Yes. And today, most of the manual work, the manual intervention has been abolished, ruled out. And there is a huge scope in terms of ensuring that everything is digitalized. And that is the reason there is something called as the technology component. And that technology is helping the analytical world, or in simple words, the businesses, to multiply the profits. And of course, the effects in the technology are that you can just say, if I promote a particular product for the data visualization Tableau, someone will come to me and then say, I have one more product which is called as a Power BI. There is a huge competition because of this technological development. And that's one of the greatest challenge. And another thing is that if the data size is huge, if the data quantity is huge, how is that your technology manage that? For that also, it's an effect. Yeah. Let me go and check for the next question. Yeah, Dr. Manjunath, you mentioning about data visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI. Which of them is more in demand as a skill and more focused on by hiring companies? Yeah, I'm not sure about the profile of you and your country is, but in general, let me answer this question. For the last 7 years, I'm extensively using Tableau as number one, and the next is Power BI. Well, when I was working very closely with the government of Bangladesh, I was asked to carry out a project, and it was in the area of analytics. And in fact, the government of Bangladesh made me to ensure that, they ensured that they wanted the data presentation, visualization using the Tableau, because they wanted to have the interactive dashboards. Now, maybe you would be thinking about, what do you mean by interactive dashboards? It's just like an English movie. You'll be seeing that that has something very recent movie, Avatar 2, if you can just remember, visualizing and then touching and then they get the feel, right? And that is what the creative dashboards are. Now, I can give a very simple example. That you have made an analysis of the learners for this particular webinar. Okay, you have a data, and that data has got one variable, one column containing gender, male and female, and the another column, the learner country. Now, if I just click on the male, automatically I should be able to see the total number of learners from different part of the world. If I click on female, then definitely I should be able to see the changed numbers with respect to the learners from the different part of the world. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. And that is called as interactive. Now you can see my slide. My slides are static, not interactive. It is static, right? That's the answer for that particular question. What is the boundary between human intuition and the information given by the data in terms of decision making? Yeah, very good question, Sama. In fact, during my presentation, I said that we, the analyst, should never have the emotion. We should make sure that we speak what data is saying. So in simple words, make data to speak rather than your intuition to speak. And when I say make data to speak, you need to have a strong hold on the statistics. Using the statistics, you'll play with the data. You'll make the data to speak. And that is the skill you should be definitely acquiring in this particular area, that is analytics. Let me look for the next questions. What makes business analytics important? Yeah, very simple words, maybe to maximize or multiply the revenue, and whatever the points which I'm sharing here are part and parcel of saying yes, that is important. How analytics can helpful? Let me go back. Helpful in public office where paper usage is very essential part of work. Yeah, there what happens is the analytics is something, or the technological component is something that the organizations have to take call, organizations have to decide upon. And when they decide, definitely they'll be having something called as the platform to get transformation from the manual to the digital world. The developed, not the developed countries, they are completely digitalized. The underdeveloped or still were in the process of developing, they are having a kind of a transformation phase, and you can see that that requires a transformation from the manual intervention to the digitalized. How can data analytics be protected and subsequently help to curb business fraud? We have something called as a fraud analytics. Gerald, we have an area which is called as a fraud analytics, which helps you to detect only the fraudulent transactions. And that as a part of the data analytics will help you to mitigate the risk, to control the risk, to put a control on the fraudulent transactions. And for that, you need to look at maybe something called as fraudulent analytics or the fraud analytics. Generally, most of the business schools or the management schools, they offer the fraud analytics. Sir, tell us practically. Yeah, Amit, you know what? The examples which we are trying to talk about are a parcel of on a daily basis what we do. But since this webinar is intended to give a complete overview on understanding of the business analytics, we're trying to cover all 360-degree and not one particular area, like say accounting or a finance or an HR or marketing or the operations, right? Please help us with HR analytics and HR metrics. Yeah, definitely. We have something called as the HR analytics as a part of this webinar too, which we will be talking in some time. As a statistics graduate, not being indulged in the work field, how is it possible to gain experience and know how to use the theories studied, apply them on real world? Yeah, it's a question which is from anonymous attendee. I'll simply say in very simple words that you have a data of height and weight. Okay, you have taken a data of height and weight of 10 friends, Mr. Anonymous or Miss Anonymous, 10 friends data, that is height and weight. Now you want to check whether height and weight are related to each other in all the 10 friends. There could be many theories. I don't want those theories. But you are just trying to apply your statistics, which you already learned in your graduation, that is correlation. And you will be applying that to figure out, is there a correlation between the height and weight of these 10 friends? Another best example, classical example from the corporate world could be, I believe you understand the share market. In the share market, maybe the US market and say the Indian market. You want to check whether the Indian market and the US market are moving together, correlation. So if you want to check that, you should understand that from the statistics, you need to apply correlation. And that is the answer for you. Yes. Webinar, please. How do I apply data analysis to my business? I'm a baker. Yep. Any transaction, whatever you do, Mr. Baker, make sure that you will be having that first in the Excel. That is to start with. Yeah, to start with. Have that data in your Excel. When I say data in Excel, what is that? It means nothing. Any transaction you do in your business on a daily basis, record that in the Excel. I know you might be having a book wherein you will be recording the transactions on a daily basis, but shift towards the Excel. I know it is really a pain at this point of time, but slowly you can get used for to understand like how the transactions are happening, right? Yeah, there are a couple of questions there. Again, yes, of course, it is talking about the statistics. Soft copy here you will be having for further understanding. Organizational department. performance, cross-functional performance here, the HR, what makes data analytics important in Zimbabwe, where we don't have our own currency. Yeah. See here, data analytics is everywhere. Now, when I say data analytics is everywhere, what do you mean by that? It means that the skill, what you have to look at the data, and then make analysis and make that data to speak. If you have that capacity, you are a data analytics guy. That's it in simple words. Senior high school students, can data analytics be taught to senior high school students? I have seen already that the schools have started training the kids on the coding machine learning. In some time, I'll be talking about the machine learning also very soon. You will be enjoying that. No problem. You can be a part of this. You'll be having a recording, Mr. John. Yeah, data analytics is important for a product manager to know that how your product performance is in the market. To understand the market demand and supply, definitely you need to have a data about your sales data, and maybe with the help of a sales data you can analyze, and then you can definitely make this. Please, Sojib, you can retype your question. How successfully analytics linked to informative and indicative type of data being accessible? It's all about the data, whatever we have, and the way how we look at the data and how we apply the analysis on that with the help of statistics is all about the answer for that. But anyway, I'll just come back to these questions. In the meantime, I was talking about the statistics, right? So let us look into the next version of piece of information what I have, because the next two set of questions are related to this particular slide. Yes, those who ask these questions, the couple of questions in terms of impact, understanding, conducting the analysis, and why data, for them, you will have to look at these three themes. One is the data analysis, second is the decision making, and third is dealing with the uncertainty. Now, what are these three important terms? People who are really interested to know about the data analytics should be aware of these three important terms. I was using the word called as the data analysis, and maybe because of that, I started getting the questions on. Now, what is that? When I have a data in my hand, let's say in the Excel, now I need to describe that data, make the analysis using the statistics, and make that data to speak. In other words, interpret what the data is talking about and try to figure out, is there a relationship between within the data in the data sets? And on the basis of that, as I already said, there are various alternatives. And on the basis of the various alternatives, one should have an ability of identifying the right one for you or your business. And definitely the last one is dealing with the uncertainty, which means that uncertainty meaning we don't know what is likely to happen. Like someone asked a question about the fraud transactions. How is that we can detect or identify the fraud transactions? Now, when we know that future is uncertain, we have to know that we manage the risk. How do we manage the risk? With the help of the models which are already available in the data analytics world. I can give a very simple example as a volatility model. Maybe for people who are not fond of the stock market, they'll be feeling a bit worried because the word which I just said, volatility model, might look like a strong word. It's very simple. On the basis of the volatility or the changes in the prices in the stock market, I would like to analyze, I would like to predict what is the likely volatility which is expected for the next few days. And that is called as dealing with the uncertainty. And for that, we have the tools to proceed with and then to understand. Now, again, the couple of questions I can see here in the Q&A, and on the basis of that, I'm just trying to pick up the right information here so that you will be able to relate and correlate what I'm trying to share with you. When we say that in our data analysis, we do the data modeling or the models in the analytics. There are three important areas of the models. One is the graphical model, and the second is the algebraic model, and the third one is the spreadsheet model. Well, I'm using a word called as the model. What does that mean? It means that you can see, you can read. It's very simple. It says that it's an abstraction of a real problem, which will help you to say, okay, start from step 1 to step 2 and from step 2 to step 3. If nothing happens in the step 3, then you will say go for the previous step, that is 2. When you have a flowchart, when you have a process, and that defines you a model. Now, if I want to forecast what is the share prices likely to happen in the next 3 months, I'll be applying the statistics, the various tools and techniques which are available. And on the basis of that, I call that as my model, and I validate my model, I check my model, and that model could be a graphical model or an algebraic model or a spreadsheet model. Spreadsheet is nothing but the Excel, which I already said. Now you need to just understand practically here, those are into the world of a business. If you look at the image here, which is talking about the demand and supply, and there is something called as the payoff. With the help of the visuals, if you're trying to analyze something or create a model, and that is called as the graphical models. We know that on the basis of the demand, there will be a supply of products into the market. Do you agree with that? Maybe a baker who's here, you will be knowing that on which day, which product to be baked, and you will be the right person, and you are aware of that how many kgs or the units of a particular product can be sold in a given week. Definitely on the basis of the demand, there will be a supply. And this demand and supply will lead to something called as a trade-off. Trade-off is nothing but your profits, your returns. And that is called as the payoff, trade-off. And this is just a graphical mode which we talk about. And there is one more thing which is too much complicated, which is called as the algebraic models. I'm not sure about the learners who are here are from the similar background of having a UG undergraduation in the area of science or mathematics or from the management. I'm not sure about that, but definitely yes, there are some algebraic models, and on the basis of that also we make the analysis. We try to find the relationships within the data, and then we make the meaningful insights. This is important here. I just wanted to quickly come back to the spreadsheet because most of the questions which I could see here in the Q&A are talking about the models which can be prepared using a spreadsheet. I would have used this spreadsheet and then shown you something, but unfortunately, this webinar intention is not that actually. Sticking to the intention of creating an awareness and knowing many aspects of the analytics here, we will just park it aside. Otherwise, maybe after this webinar, you can just go to Google and then say spreadsheet analysis or Excel used for the business analytics, and you will be seeing so many examples. One of the popular example is that forecasting the sales for the next few quarters. Yes, for your business, you want to forecast what is the most likely sales for the next few quarters. Now, when I say next few quarters, maybe for next 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. That is possible. That is possible with the help of Excel, and you can definitely do that. Therefore, here, I could see one of the question in the chat box that how can I ensure that I can be the right person for this analytics? Have a strong hands-on with respect to the Excel first. That should be your first motto, to get a hands-on on Excel. Remember that nobody can become an Excel in Excel. Yes, nobody can become an Excel in Excel. Having said that, you need to make sure that you will be applying your analytical skill on the technology, and one of the technology component is that the Excel. Yeah, this is how it looks like. If someone say that I want to see like how an Excel sheet looks like, the spreadsheet looks like, it is something like here. Yeah, the evolution of business analytics in this particular slide, I have given the link if you click on this link, you will be having an access to understand in detail about like how the generation changed from, say, the ancestor to the today's person who is having a devices. Even this is outdated. I say that you will be having the devices, electronic devices in your hand, and then that's how the change in terms of the technology has happened. This link is shared in the interest of you guys. So at a nutshell, if someone wants to understand what is business analytics, there is a popular statement given by Michael and Alan. They say that business analytics is all about, which refers to the skills, the technologies, the practices, and exploring all the acquired knowledge of the statistics to understand what has happened in the past and to decide what is likely to happen in the near future. Nothing from my side, but yes, it is from the Michael and the Alan over there. Yeah, that's the definition which they have put. Now let me go back to the Q&A chat box here so that we'll try to understand what kind of questions I have now. How successfully analytics link to informative and indicative type of data being accessible? In a while, you'll get to know that. Complete data analytics course. Yeah, Abraham, it depends on the way how you pick up. I'm not sure about the total duration which is required for the data analysis course which you are referring, but generally data analysis happens to be the first step for any analytical guy. And if you really want to call yourself as a data analysis guy, if you ask me that question using Excel, you need to have a training at least 2 to 3 months, a complete hands-on experience on the Excel, and applying some tools and techniques, and then making the analysis. 2 to 3 months using Excel. I'm specifically saying about using Excel, not other tools at all. And there are various tools in the world, and every tool has got the learning time. Even for me, if there is a new tool, I have to get trained on that. Because how do I know that tool, right? So with the Excel, if you want to excel to the extent of the analysis, you would require at least 2 to 3 months rigorous training on that. Most important step in data analytics is that make data to speak. The most important step in the data analytics analysis or the data analytics is that make data to speak. Understand the nature of the data, what kind of data you have, and then apply the right statistics. Megabytes limited, so many connection can be disconnected. Sorry, sir. No problem. You can seek for the recorded session. Yeah, the main points. Tanjina, can you please tell me for which you are looking for the main points? My question is, what platforms can be used by businesses to collect the data on a daily basis? Which of these platforms, apps have an integration function into Excel? Yeah, you know what, Andrew? There are various tools. Let's say the Tableau can be now integrated with your server. Let's say you're running a business and you have the enterprise system or say the software which you are maintaining in your business. That application or the software what you have should be integrated with the plugins or with the servers, maybe to the Tableau or maybe to the Excel. Tableau for the data visualization, you can directly take the data from the server of your company. That is one. The second thing is that you can make sure that the plugins for the softwares can be installed into your Excel, and on one click, you can get the data into your Excel. I'm doing it on a daily basis here. I have the Excel add-ins. I'm generally, I always love to make the analysis of the stock prices. I have an access to the Bloomberg. I have a Bloomberg plugin installed in my Excel. What I'll do on a daily basis, if I want a particular company information, I'll just write a code and then I click on the add-in in my Excel and then I fetch the data. Yes, it is possible. As a digital marketer who wants to acquire data skill, which of the numerous data skills would you suggest, please? As a digital marketer who wants to acquire data skill, who wants to acquire data skill, meaning today everybody should be aware of and everybody should be looking for to acquiring the data knowledge, like how one of the learner said here in the webinar that he runs a business of a bakery, right? Being a baker. Even for him also, it is very much important. How does data analytics affect the rapid development of AI? AI is the godfather of the analytics. AI, artificial intelligence, is helping the data analytical world because whatever the analysis we make, whatever the models we talk about, whatever the statistics we talk about are already built in. And with the help of artificial intelligence, we can make use of that and then find a solution or find a decision for our business. Remember one thing, we are not doing a great thing here. We are making use of the technology. Everything is in front of us. When I look at the plate, I can see menu, a big menu here. Now I need to just pick up that which I can eat. In that way, technology is present, the data is available, artificial intelligence models are in place, the tools and techniques are available. You should be knowing what tool you'll be using. If your four-wheeler vehicle gets stopped somewhere in the middle of your journey, you should be knowing that what kind of tool you need to fix that particular issue. When you're able to understand the issue, you will be getting proper knowledge in terms of identifying what kind of tools you can pick up in terms of fixing that particular issue. And that is the answer for that. Logistic field, yes, there is something called as supply chain, value chain analysis. Even that helps a lot in terms of carrying out the analysis. Let's say the chain between the retailer to the wholesaler and wholesaler to the direct consumers. In this particular process, you need to understand the operational management, and to understand the operational management, you need to have the knowledge in the area of operational analytics. Yes, I'll come back to the next few set of questions in a while. Let me shift gear towards something which is very important. Yeah, this anyway I've covered already. The data analysis and data analytics. People were talking about the data analysis and the data analytics. See, data analytics, in that data analysis is a subset. This is a data analytics, which means that you will be using the data and tools which are really required in terms of taking the business decisions, right? It's a broad field, the data analytics. This data analytics comes from the big data, okay? Under the data analytics, you have the data analysis, which refers to the specific action. That's the reason I don't remember the learner name. The person asked me how long it takes to get a complete knowledge in terms of the data analysis. So it is specific. It is referring to the specific action. And that's the reason I had no standard answer saying that, okay, how much time you would require. Maybe using an Excel, you might be requiring some time. And the next set of questions which I could see there are on the basis of these points. Now, it's a time for us to understand the different types of business analytics. Now, when I say the different types of business analytics, what does that mean? There are certain things, if you just look into the slide here, it is talking about the descriptive analytics. It is also talking about the diagnostic analytics. There are two more. If you can see here, predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. Yes. So the life of business analyst lies with these four categories. One, knowing what has happened in the past. That is called as simply the descriptive analytics. You are just trying to understand what has happened in the past. You are interested only in deriving what has happened in the past. As I already gave an example, you will be taking the last 5 years share prices of our company, and then you want to see what is the most likely price for the next few days, and that is called as a descriptive analytics. We have interesting analytics here that is called as the diagnostic analytics. What it says, it focuses on how and why of past business performance and aims to take learning from this historic data to correct course of action. I never intended to read that, but that is quite common, because when we talk about the diagnostic analytics, just remember a doctor to whom you will be visiting as a patient. When you visit a doctor as a patient, let's say your stomach is upset. You'll be approaching doctor and then he will say, you're not feeling well, you're feeling tired, and your stomach is not okay, you're not feeling comfortable. And at that moment, immediately, your doctor will start asking you a couple of questions. And those questions are on the basis of what? Those questions are actually on the basis of what is that you have consumed, since when you are feeling this. And then he will write a story after asking a couple of questions, and then he will route towards some test. He will say that he or she, the doctor will say that you take this medicine, you take a rest. And on the base of that, you call it as diagnostic. So such kind of analysis is called as the diagnostic analysis. And you have something called as a predictive and prescriptive analytics. And this is really something crazy. Most people today, they spend their time in terms of the predictive analytics. The reason is that it is the advanced version. It is the advanced technique. It is talking about the historic data. It is talking about the statistics. It is even talking about the AI intervention, that is machine learning, to arrive at a most probabilistic future performance. Which means that if a business wants to understand whether the consumer with a particular IP address is likely to purchase a particular product, then they would definitely apply the technique of predictive analytics, so that they understand what is that my consumers or the IP users are looking for. And the last one is prescriptive analytics. If you just look into the prescriptive, the name itself says that it's all about figuring out what is likely to happen in the future. On the basis of the historical data analysis, after diagnosing it, after predicting using a machine learning, the statistical tools, everything, you'll be having a lot of options. You need to identify the right alternative, which is a part of the prescriptive analytics. If your doctor is saying that you should go for MRI, that's the prescription which he is giving you, saying that you should go for the MRI because X-ray could not find out. And 1 week of observation failed. And he says that now you have to go for that. And it requires a lot of insight, and it requires a lot of analytical skills. And that's why the image is also like that there. So after understanding these all 4 categories of the business analytics, now you can see here where and all you can see the business analytics. I could see a couple of questions which are again on the basis of where the analytics is applied. It is applied everywhere. Even it is seen in the CRM, customer relationship management. You talk about the 5-star hotels. The 5-star hotel, the CRM, the customer relationship managers, they want to understand how the performance, how the customers are feeling about the services of that particular hotel, whether they are satisfied, not satisfied. If not satisfied, why? And after understanding why they are not satisfied, fixing off those whys and then converting it into as a satisfaction. And of course, e-retailing, marketing, I took an example. Of course, even in the manufacturing area, we see a lot of aspects, the demand with respect to the business analytics is concerned. Yeah, this is for you guys at a nutshell to look for the applications of business analytics. Now I'll just leave it here and then I'll go for the questions. Let me see what kind of questions I have here so that I can just take it up. In your professional capacity and expertise in this field, if you're asked to call business analysis another name, what would it be and why? Business analysis is all about, for me, a common sense today. To know what has happened, to know what is happening, and then get ready for what is likely to be tomorrow. And that is my answer for that business analysis. Yes, I can see how important the data validation. So to have valid data, to have valid output. Thank you. Yes, maybe I think that person is into the research. If you're into the research, probably you will be aware of that, what kind of analysis and what kind of data we deal with. Any data, whatever we have, the data might not be a valid one. Yeah, how can I trust the data? Therefore, in statistics, there is something called as a validity test. Yes, Murray, yes, there is something called as validity test. We need to apply the validity test to check the data validness and the reliability, and then we proceed with that. That's the answer. What makes business analytics important in procurement? Of course, EOQ, economic order quantity. If you want to procure something, your business analytics knowledge will help you. Just-in-time application, when to procure, Let's say if you're procuring too much raw material and then keeping it in a warehouse, maybe your raw material storage capacity, the storage cost, the warehouse cost might increase. Therefore, on the basis of the demand, on the basis of the economic order quantity levels within the organization, with the help of this analysis, the analytics, you can take a decision of when to order. Thanks for this educative webinar, but please, how can I apply data analytics in an administrative and secretarial position? Yeah, I think, Lydia, I think you're at a uh, uh, above middle level management role, and definitely any piece of information which you have in front of you to see, after seeing that, if you want to analyze that why it has happened, what has happened, then that is called as a knowledge, and that is called as a skill which you are applying. Yeah, Gabriel, good day. I'm a bit late, no problem. Your question is the big data, data analysis, and data sciences. Yeah, it's a buzz which I've already covered. It is there in this part of the slides. You can make use of it. What is the different software? Yeah, there are various softwares. Thank you for asking this question. Anyway, I'll be talking about that sometime. There are tools, the softwares, the technology, which are used to make the analysis. The most popular one is under the machine learning. I'm sure you might have heard about this Python, not this Python. Python, it's a program oriented tool which can be used to analyze. A statistical analysis can be performed using Python. And we have R. R as a statistical programming language. It is an open source. You don't have to pay for that. It's an open source. You can download. You can start getting trained on how to use R. Using R, you can analyze the data. How is data analytics important in healthcare? Oh my goodness. To be very frank, in the healthcare sector, there was a huge demand for the data analytics because any product which comes under the, say, the pharmaceutical or the healthcare, they do a kind of testing. When testing happens, definitely they need to understand the market for their particular product. And when they understand the market for their particular product, with the help, when I say they need to understand, how is it they understand? With the help of the analytics only they understand. Is it really need to have some basic computer skills before applying data analysis? Please, Jensen, it is must, please. When I say computer skill, specifically, that is Excel, and be familiar with the keyboard. Don't look at the each key, the keyboard, and then don't press that. Just get a comfortable hands-on this particular keyboard. If you ask me, are you so comfortable with keyboard? No, I'm not. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot here. Right? So for some things, I'll be looking into that. And they definitely, you should be thinking about like what kind of skills are required. I'm from a BA graduate working as sales executive. How the data analytics is going to help? Can I switch my career or not? Nihal, thank you for asking this question. See, there is nothing called as switching the career. The reason is you can upgrade in your career. You can get the promotion in the same line of business what you are into, the same line of domain what you are into. But if you just look at your reporting managers who are in the middle level, what is it they do? They take all the data from you. You being a sales guy, definitely you'll be knowing that you'll be sending the data, right? You'll be filling the Excel file and then you'll be sharing it to your team lead, and then your team lead will be making the compilation of that, and then that will be shared to your senior managers. What is it they do? They analyze. How? Because they have some analytical skills. With that, they analyze, and after analysis, they take the decision. So I would recommend you to get a promotion rather than switching career. How does data analytics can help in a falling economy? When you say that the economy is falling, that is only with the help of the analysis, only with the help of the data analysis which you do, you will get to know whether it is falling or not falling. Improve construction company. Yeah, of course, every organization, every business has got an opportunity to ensure that they multiply their profits. I am a car wash owner. I want to know how best I can apply data analytics to my business and what the results will be after analytics. What type of data do I have to analyze, tools I need, how can I collect my data? Any useful information can be added. I'm having a connectivity issue. Okay, no problem. Thanks for that question, Dinesh. Uh, for any type of business, we say that we need to understand what my business is all about. You being a car wash owner, you will be knowing that what is your business is. When you know what is your business, you will be knowing who is your customer. And with your customer, you will also be knowing that what is that you will be doing with your customer. And with that customer, whatever you do should be in your mind, should be recorded in your Excel to make analysis on that. Now, what kind of analysis you can make? Maybe you can track when is that this customer will come back again for the car wash. You make an entry of all such kind of things into your Excel. You'll get a heads up. You will get a kind of insight saying that okay, Mr. X has come last month. Probably in the next month he is likely to come. How can I say that? Maybe on the basis of his frequent visits, which he made a kind of visit to you to get his car washed. So such kind of just a simple example. Anyway, we are not in depth of that. Can we use, for example, the Excel tables for diagnostic analysis? Yeah, Mariana, I generally do that diagnostic analysis using the Excel. And most of my research comes in the area of diagnostic. And of course, I have used Excel, and it's an extensive part of it. What's data analysis course duration? It depends from an institution to institution. Generally, it is said that if you spend some time, let's say for 3 months, it would be really a great hands-on for you to get a trained. Can we use business analytics and data analytics interchangeably? Yeah, business analytics is a broader term which is helping you to say data of what business. Business analytics and data analytics. Now you look at this, Mr. Anonymous. Business analytics and data analytics, if you look at this, you are going to apply the analytics on the data of your business. And if your business is coming from the finance and it is a financial data analytics, that's the reason for customer cards. Yes, yes, you're right. Customer cards, the credit cards. Which of these business analytics type is mostly used in HR and CRM? All four, Regina. If you really want to know, let's say you have joined as an HR for an organization and now you want to know what has happened in the last 5 years. Now, to know what has happened in the last 5 years, you'll be using the descriptive. After understanding what has happened in the last 5 years, you will get to know some issues and you will fix that. Diagnostic. You'll be going more into the depth of those issues. Diagnostic. And you'll be thinking of how to fix that. Predictive. And then you will be providing a recommendation, and that's called as prescriptive. That's the answer for Regina. Account. What is the account historical background of data analytics? What is the account historical background of data analytics? I understand this question as accounting context. In the accounting context, Sehu, I think you will have to revise your question. Otherwise, I might talk something else rather than what you're looking for. Just think about it. Do I also need to have programming skills to be a data analyst? Yeah, here, this user, for this user. Now, if you really want to build your career in such a way that you play a role of junior data scientist, yeah, there is a popular term in the world that the scientists happen to be the science guys, right? And these days, even the data analysts are also having a fascinating designation, which is called as data scientist. Yeah. If you're looking something called as to be like a data scientist, then you need to have a very good hands-on and programming skills that helps you to get that position. How does data analytics help in a falling economy? Data analytics helps you to understand why the economy is falling and what to do in those falling economies. Maybe if you're looking for the investments, Mr. Zain, that helps you to understand, okay, when should I invest, on what I should invest during the falling economy. Data science different from data analytics? Yes, data analytics is a part of data science, and data science is an ocean. Yeah, can we apply data analytics in the agriculture sector? Yes, it is, especially for the weather. We have our analytics called as the weather analytics, and you will be enjoying that also. Agriculture business analytics, yes, yes, yes. Medical, everywhere it is applied. How are the data analytics and Lean Six Sigma methodology interrelated? Do they differ? Are they have a good combination of skills to take? Of course, when you look at the data analytics and Lean Six Sigma methodology, these two are hand in hand. They are going hand in hand. Lean Sigma, the moment when you type Lean Sigma, you are aware of that why Lean Sigma is, right? When you look at the operational aspects of the quality and to know that how the operations are going on, you will be applying the data analytics on that. So data analytics is nothing but like a mechanic. Please, people who are here, you consider yourself like a mechanic. Mechanic not necessarily only to fix the vehicles, mechanic for everyone. Doctor is also a mechanic. A teacher is also a mechanic. Given economic studies and business analytics studies, which program contains the other? Can a business analyst says he or she is economist? Business analytics, an expert, a business analytics expert can come from a particular background. If that person is coming from the area of the economics, and if the person is more inclined towards understanding what has happened and what is happening in the economy by applying the analytical tools, then definitely they can call themselves as the economist. But in general, what happens is economist will get the data analyzed by the data analytics team, and he takes the decision because he has the capacity to connect the dots, and he calls himself as the economist. Who is responsible for data analysis in an organization? Human resource or secretary? A particular team which will be dedicated in the name of the business intelligence or the business analyst for the particular company. They are the responsible person for that particular analysis. How to make data analytics in agricultural business? I'm sure, Sehu, you will have to start your the business analytics course. Definitely that helps you to understand by looking at the descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive is possible. Probably will have to start your course. I'm building a quiz, online voting and ticket sales platform. How to analyze the data? Any ideas on where to get the viable data? See, when you are building a quiz, let's say you will be capturing the responses, right? When you capture the responses, I'm sure that captured responses will be the CSV file, comma separated file, or you can say, what is that? The Excel. From that, using the right statistical methods, you can make the analysis for sure. How can I apply data analysis in my work? I'm a statistical clerk at Ministry of Health. Oh my God, Christina, in fact, when you say that you're a statistical clerk, you have too much data. Now, please get a hands-on on the statistics. When you get a hands-on on the statistics, you will be knowing what kind of analysis you can do on the data, whatever you already have. Now, let us suppose that, let us assume that you have sufficient statistics knowledge. With that statistics knowledge, what you can do, you can make that data to speak by visualizing that data. Maybe you can use Tableau or Power BI and then look at the data, like what has happened, what is likely to happen. Such kind of things can be understood with the help of the business analytics. How do I make data analytics effective in my company? Make sure that your company will be investing money on the technology component, especially like say the tools and techniques or the softwares which we are talking about, and it makes effective. Operators as retail stores can know what individual customer shop for and can plan properly. Yes, Lenwell, anybody for the matter who's present here can definitely exercise. maybe I have to say this now because I can see most of the questions are following, having a similar correlation between one another question. See, any person for the matter, if I want to understand what has happened in the past and what is happening now, what is likely to happen in the future, if I want to see this, then I'm the analyst. Therefore, what I'm going to say now is, it is a common sense. Your ancestors have used, your parents have used, your grandparents have used, and you are also using, for sure, your kids will also be using the common sense. Now we are applying that common sense with the help of our technology, and we are calling it as the business analytics. Nothing rocket science here. If you know the basics of the statistics, if you get the basic understanding on these tools and techniques, maybe in the name of a training, you can apply and then you can make the analysis, and that helps you to take a decision. That's it. What's the difference between data and information? Information is a processed data. If you process the data, you get the information. Thanks, a student who did operation management as a course unit. This is a wake up to my mind. Though I'm in management, data tracking is a pillar of our business because we base and relate from it. But do we disseminate to everyone in company? Yes, because when you call saying that you have a data, with that data, then definitely you will be applying your mind, you will be applying the common sense to understand what has happened. Just try to understand in this way. Now I can see here from this webinar questions that people are trying to look at this business analytics as something like, say, an alien. No, not really. You already did it. You already did it. You know it, but you need to make it using the technology. For that, you need to upgrade. That's it. And to upgrade, you will have to get the training from a training platform, training providers. Thanks for webinar. I joined late. However, I'm a poultry farmer specializing on layers only. My question is, how can collect the data analysis for my business? See, again, there are a couple of questions which are asking, how do I get the data? Now, if I want to know what people are having in their mind in the name of question, then I should give a platform to you, like to write your question in the chat box. At the start of the webinar itself, I said, I would love to interact with you. And that is the reason. I said that because I wanted to get the data. And on the basis of the data, that is whatever you type over there is a data. After reading that, after I analyzing it, I process that data, then I get a kind of thought, and that thought happens to be an information for you. And that is the reason we are going in that mode. And that is the example for you. Patrick has asked, how would you identify credible data for your information? And there is a tool to help your identity. Yes, Patrick. In statistics, there is something called as validity test and reliability test. We need to apply the reliability test, validity test on the data, whatever we have, to understand whether the data is reliable or not, credible or not for that. So that answer is done. Okay, yeah. For example, in Zimbabwe, we don't have a stable currency. We use USD dollar, rands, and the rates are up and down. How do you collect it? Yeah, now if you're more specific to the data regarding the US dollar or the rands, it is available on a platform like, say, Yahoo Finance. I would give Yahoo Finance as one of the simplest example here for you because it is free. It is for free. You can collect that data, and if you want to make a kind of analysis, like to understand when was the currency went up and when the currency went down, to understand that, you can use the Excel and then make the analysis. Let's work together. What is the best and shortest roadmap to follow to become a professional data analyst? Nothing. I have bachelor degree in mathematics, minor degree in business administration, and master's in finance. But I need some time to refresh my memory. You're with me, and I'm with you, Janav, because I'm also the same like you. I did not carry such a kind of mathematics degree, but still, yes, I'm in the area of analytics, and I'm doing a couple of projects in the area of analytics, the trainings in the area of analytics. For this, I need patience, I need time. I should also have a kind of an urge saying that, okay, let me learn something new, and it is possible. For that, you will have to start not from the scratch, but start understanding what the research says. Are there any traits that a person has to have developed to become highly effective at data analytics? Yes, of course, one should have the skills which I mentioned in the course of discussion, saying that using the common sense, analyzing critically, thinking about it, visualizing, understanding the cause, looking at what has happened, and trying to figure out what can be expected in the near future. All such kind of things will help you to have a kind of quality and then proceed with that. Now, since many of the people were asking question on the technology aspect, here is the answer which I've already given for the people. Yes, how do you identify? Yes, you can come back and then come with the new questions. CBAP certification, Rimsha, yeah, definitely we can talk about that. But I have got an objective with respect to the webinar here, and I'm just going with this. Maybe at the last, if time permits, then we can talk about that. Sir, Arga sir, there are 69 chat notifications.
Yeah.
Maybe if you think that, okay, there is a question, you can just make sure that you
No,
will be
no.
asking.
These chats are basically they are just discussing. I am also interacting with them, and all the questions are being posted in the question Q&A session.
Uh-huh.
So if there are any questions, so I'm asking the learner to post that in Q&A box. No need to worry.
Yeah, at the moment it says open 33, but I cannot see those 33 questions.
Oh, no, 33 question actually you are. It is there as you are answering those questions. You need to click on done.
Okay.
That's
I
why it
did
is
not do
still
that.
there.
Okay, no
Uh-huh.
problem.
Right. Once you click on all the done, all will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the people who are present here, this slide is for you guys. If someone wants to have a kind of a career with respect to business analytics, then you will have to start with these things. And that is the reason we thought of highlighting these points in this particular webinar, so that you can make a note of this and start getting a training. I won't say from where you should get the training, because there are various training partners. Like, say, one of the training platform is Uniathena. They are also doing that, and we give training for the people. And yeah, you can get to know more about this maybe in the end of this particular webinar. Yeah, there were a couple of questions which I already covered, because people said, what are the benefits of the business analytics? I have covered most of the points which are here, not necessarily. Yes, there was a question on the fraud identity. You see here, the last point talks about the fraud identity as one of the benefits for the business analytics. This business analytics is trying to make sure that the businesses make profits. That is number one. It helps in the process of making a decision to multiply their profits, to increase their sales, to reduce the cost, to make use of the available resources to the maximum extent, to place an order at a right time, to make sure that the right employees are within the organization and the employees are trained as per the requirements, and the customers are taken care in the name of the customer management. And ultimately, it is all about taking care of the performances. So here is a big list of the benefits for the people who call themselves as the business analytics. At the same time, there are disadvantages. There were no question on this, but yes, one question which I liked it is, how do I know that the data is valid data, or say the data is reliable? If that data happens to be a fake data, a manipulated data, then analysis on that manipulated data flunks, and that creates a disaster. And here, that is the reason I said you need to have knowledge on the statistics to apply the reliability test. Cronbach alpha. There is something called as Cronbach alpha as a tool which is used. That's the technique, Cronbach alpha. That with the help of the statistics, you can get to know whether your data is reliable and valid or not. So that's one of the major disadvantage. And lack of commitment. What happens is, when we talk about the business analytics, the commitment is not that great. When I say commitment is not that great, When you see the data, when you understand what the nature of data is and what has happened, you need to have that intention saying that you are trying to provide a solution for those problems. If you have that mindset, if you have patience, if you have a commitment towards completing the course, completing the action, saying that why is that you are performing the analysis, because you want to increase the sales for your company. Now apply that and ensure that that is applied within your organization. And of course, the low quality of underlying transactional data. Many people ask me the question, where do we get the data? I said there are various data service providers. For finance related data, you can go to the Yahoo Finance and then you can take the data from the Yahoo Finance. You can make the analysis of that. If someone say, I want a data related to the stock price, then I would say you go to the respective country stock exchange, and then there you get the data. If someone say, sir, I want profitability of a particular company, yeah, you can go to the Google, you can just ask, but to what extent the Google data is reliable is the next question. I'll give a very simple example. Maybe you can understand this. If I want a data related to Microsoft, I can get the data related to Microsoft, that is the profitability of Microsoft for the last 10 years from just querying the Google search engine. That is one. Second, going to the website of Microsoft and looking at the download section and then annual reports. And from the annual reports, I can get the profitability. Third, Yahoo Finance. Now, if you look at these three, you already have the answer which source of data is the most reliable, that is the Microsoft. Then who is Yahoo Finance? Yahoo Finance is a data service provider. He captures the data. He publishes the data. And people like you and me look at the data. But before we take that data, we need to make sure that what kind of source, do we have an access to the directly from the company? If it is yes, then don't go for the third party source. If it is no, then you will have to go to the third party source. There are some data providers who take the money. Yes, I have seen that. Probably you might have heard about the morningstar.com, which gives the data related to the stocks, the shares of any country you talk about. You can just type in the Google search engine Morningstar, and then you will get to know that what kind of company information you can seek from that particular website. It's a reliable. I use the data from Morningstar for my PhD. They give a reliable data from. And of course, there are a couple of importance of the business analytics here. Again, I was using a language of fixing the problems. You can see here. I also talked about the competitors. It is here. I was talking about the reducing the cost. It is here. I was talking about identifying the right alternative for the investments or for the decision making. Again, it is here. There are a couple of importance of the business analytics. These are in general, but at the same time, we have challenges. There is a misconception about business analyst scope of work. They say that business analyst should know everything. No, when you were asking a direct question to me saying that agriculture, healthcare, manufacturing, which means that that particular sector knowledge you should be aware of, and then you can apply your statistical analytical skill to take the decisions. I'll just keep it for you guys to refer maybe sometime later. Yeah, here is the one important slide which is talking about the rise of analytics, and we are focusing on how is digital HR different from the traditional HR. I got a couple of questions from the HR domain. Now, for them, this is really something interesting because you can see it is talking about the HR, human resource, digital HR and a traditional HR. For those people who ask me the question, for them, my question is, are you a traditional HR? If you are a traditional HR, then it's time for you to shift towards the digital HR. How? By getting required training on the technological aspects. Maybe in that, one could be a very strong hands-on with respect to the using Excel analysis and then visualization, maybe a Tableau or a Power BI. These days, most of the companies they are using the Power BI as well as Tableau. Tableau is widely accepted, of course. There is a kind of question like formulas in Excel and other calculations. Yes, you can do the calculations in the Excel. Also analysis. How does age affects one's programming ability, like Python programming? Can you give an age range that is still viable window for learning programming? Oh, Edmund, I'm really not aware of what's your age, but age is just a number. And if you really love, if you really keen about knowing and learning something which is new, then nothing can stop you. You can definitely do that. I have a very good classical examples, so-called the professors from the top prominent business schools, that is the MBA schools. They are at the age of 50s. They were said to be as traditional faculty, but today they've also spent time in terms of understanding and transforming towards being a digital professors. And that is possible. How do I apply data analytics in electrical and electronics engineering? Maybe by this time you might have already understood that there is a use scope for all these sectors. What skills I need to I need to be a professional M or E officer. I'm sorry, I don't understand what is M or E officer is, but definitely today's technology-oriented skills or tech-related skills will help you to shift the gear towards the next level. Reducing sales of employees is a benefit of business analytics. Reducing sales of employees. Oh man. Okay, Dennis, do you mean to say layoff or sending people back to their respective home or a sweet home? Is this a benefit of business analytics? Hmm. I don't know whether your question is towards that, but yes, employees are one hand, and the analytics is on the other hand. Analytics is helping me to take the decisions and multiply my profits. This analytics should not reduce the employee force. Yes. How do I utilize the data among nations internationally? Data among nations internationally. Rabiu, I'll give one example which I used. I have taken 15 countries data from the World Bank to understand the economic development situation and the position of all those 15 countries using the Excel, using R, a statistical programming language. And then I made a visualization using Tableau, and that is possible with the help of the data. Most of the applications of business analytics are inside of the business plans. And if someone is capable to deal with business plan, then we can consider him as a specialist in business analysis. Perfect. Thanks for the opportunity. Basic on analytic tools. Where can we get the best training on what? You will get to know the answer by the end of this particular session. Dennis, I would say lack of commitment is a disadvantage. I would say it is a challenge. Yeah, of course, it is a challenge. If the business data analytics project is not properly scoped. Yeah, true. You are coming from the practical background. That's true. That was in your presentation, sir. Yes, yes. No. That's perfect. Yes. And then next question is in your presentation. Yeah, I have covered it as one of the important points. How do I apply data analytics as an integration officer in relation to migration, conflict management, and resolution, trafficking, etc.? Jonas, I think there is a scope for your domain too. Now, you need to apply the knowledge, whatever you have acquired from the training on the data, whatever you already have. So here the challenge is that if I have some data, what is it I do with that data? Jump on that data, make the data to speak using the tools, techniques, and the analysis. Yeah, the people was the question on the HR. Yes, there is already an intervention. I'll give a fantastic example here. I'm sure people would enjoy this. Recently, there was a trend in terms of conducting the first round of interview for the employee position, for the middle level employees position. And I'll give my own example. 3 months back, I got an email from one of the top company, that is Amazon. They said they are looking for someone who can be a consultant for the data analytics. And The HR discussed with me everything, and then she said, you'll be having an interview. I said, okay. I received an email one fine day, and then there was a link, there was a schedule, I accepted it. And on that particular day, I was not aware of that. I am in front of AI. AI was assessing me. AI started asking questions. When a question was asked, how are you doing? I said, I'm doing fine, but not that great. And then immediately the second question was, what made you to say not to that great? It was something like, say, catching the point from my responses and then revolving around that. A kind of intelligence has been already built in. And these days, for most of the fresher positions, the first round or the second round happens to be the AI. Now, if AI is taking one round of interview and it is giving the assessment, then think about that. The role of an HR, the job of an HR is at stake. But yes, the technology is growing. We have to grow. We have to upgrade. And when we talk about the human resource management, we have the people who come in the area of HR domain. For them, my question is, how will you put across the performance of your employees within the organization? How will you put across? If you say, I'll do a PPT, then you're a traditional HR. I would say you prepare a creative dashboard, maybe using a Power BI or a Tableau, and that helps you to call yourself as a digital HR. Yeah, HR analytics, in fact, I'm not going into the depth of what is the meaning of HR. Most of the people will be aware of what is human resources. And we know that the analytics is nothing but it is a data-driven world or a data-driven method. It helps the HR managers to take the decisions in line with the company objectives. To meet the company objectives or the company goals, you need to apply the statistical tools or the analytical skill to ensure that you take a right decision. See, being an HR, you should be knowing when to hire. If I ask you, when will you hire a new employee? Or if I ask you, when will you start the hiring process? You should be knowing that when is that you will be starting a hiring process. You should not say, when someone resigns, I'll start the hiring process. If you say like that, I'll start the hiring process when someone resigns, then my next question is, have you forecasted that an employee is going to resign in your company? If you say, how do I get to know that? Maybe you can get to know that. Yes, maybe having a skip level interviews, skip level meetings, maybe by sending a particular questionnaire about understanding whether the employees are satisfied in the organization or not. Maybe on the basis of that response, you can analyze whether the people or a person is particularly having a mindset of switching the job. Maybe I can give an example for the HR part here. Maybe you can track on the basis of an employee is more inclined towards taking leaves and not regular to the work, not so productive. And there is a kind of alarm now. Why this employee is taking leaves again and again? Why is late always to the work? Why is that he is not that productivity? If you make an analysis on that now, you will find an answer. Maybe he is a dissatisfied employee, and maybe there is a chance that he might resign. Could be, could be, could be. It's all about the could be. So this is one of the examples for you to think about when you talk about the HR analytics. Yes, of course, today we call it as a people analytics, as well as the digital HR, enable HR leaders to adopt digital HR analytics. All the words are similar, but yes, one should be knowing that how do I play with the data? There is nothing much here. This is for you guys to have it. There are some pitfalls, the challenges when we talk about the HR analytics. The first challenge is that data sources tell different stories. That is the reason I said data is like a baby. When you know how to nurture a baby, maybe you can make that baby nurturing in such a way that that baby will start dreaming about becoming a rock star, becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer. Yeah, the way how you nurture, in the same way, you should nurture the data. Dad wants a kid to be a doctor. Mother wants a kid to be an engineer. But the kid is only one. That is the data. On that data, there are two people who are looking at two perspectives. That's why the data sources always tell different stories, but we should be knowing that what story we are interested with and how to make that story to happen. The reporting doesn't mean anything. Yes, of course, when you make the analysis, when you say that, okay, in the last 5 years, the profits went down. Yes, the profit went down. You reported that. So what? If a person who are sitting here, they say that, okay, I want to be a business analyst, and assume that Dr. Manjunath is running a company, and yeah, I'll be hiring someone from here as a business analyst. I'll give my company details to you, the sales data to you for the last 5 years. And you being an analyst, you make the analysis and then you say, in the last 5 years, the profits went down. So what? If you say that, my next reaction is, I know that. I know that the profits went down in the last 5 years. And I am interested in knowing what has made my company to have a low in terms of profits down. Do you have that capacity to identify what made the profits to go down? If yes, you are my business analyst. HR analytics lacks an enterprise view, which means that definitely the HRs are advised to consider their organization as their own organization. At the organization level, they'll have to take the decisions and then look at the business, and that really helps the businesses or the employees within the organization to be on a same page. Now, let me go for Q&A. Is there a difference in business analytics when it comes to monitoring and evaluation? Clement, business analytics helps you to monitor and evaluate, because just remember those 4 types of business analytics: descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. If you remember those 4 types of business analytics, then definitely it will help you to have the next level of monitoring and the evaluation. Is it possible to keep data for employee who has resigned the organization, and their data analytics? Why is important, please? Yes, I think Roha Safi happens to be an HR. Now, in your company, let us assume that in your company, if you're maintaining the data of those people who have left the organization, it's good. My sincere advice is, before you send an employee out of the company after their resignation, you please conduct an exit interview. You please give a questionnaire to him with some list of questions. Let that person answer the question. Let that person be interviewed by you. You make a recording of that and you keep it in a database. And when you find a time, let's say you want to understand why is that the people have left, so many people have left the organization, you open those files, you open the data of that, you start applying your analytical skill, you will get to know what made them to resign your organization. For that, we really require the data. Please, would you be grateful if you can take us through some of the analytical tools or list them here to find more about it to study? Yeah, Jonas, in fact, one of the slides was talking about the Power BI, Tableau, R, statistical programming language, Python as the core tools to be used to get trained on. Or better still, are there tools to generate the data? To generate the data. Generate the data is something different here. See, generate the data is that I need a data from somewhere. There are data service providers. From them, I take the data. Maybe, let's say, if you want to know the patient's data, go to the hospital. If you want to know the sales data, go to the marketing manager of a particular company and then ask that person to get the sales data. And that helps you to get the data, and then probably we can make an analysis on that. So people analytics, there are some pros and cons. We are at the fag end, in fact, of this particular webinar. But yes, it helps us. The analytics basically helps in terms of taking a decision on when to hire, when to start the hiring process. And it also helps us to know who is the key employee and how can I apply a strategy to retain a particular employee. Now, I was just giving an example to track that person, track such kind of employees who are taking uh, regular leaves on a frequent basis and being late to the work. But yes, they happen to be very good in the past. But for now, maybe they are trying to pretend as if, like, say, they are not interested, they are not, say, okay with the organization. They are showing some lethargy. You try to do the analysis of them. If they found to be really good in the last few years in the past, and that helps you to retain the employee. If an employee puts the resignation, being a HR, don't say accept it. If an employee is key to your organization, try to retain that employee. How will you get to know whether the employee is a key employee? On the basis of the data, on the basis of the data and the performance of that employee in the past. That helps you to take a decision. And definitely, it is increasing the diversity in terms of knowing what kind of employees are within the organization and with whom you are dealing. Definitely, there are people who will be associated with the company for the longer duration. At the same time, there are a couple of people who come for a shorter duration. You can make the assessment of that. And another important thing is that, let's say this webinar was intended to create an awareness on the data analytics hedge. We started talking about the business analytics. We started talking about the data analytics, all those blah blah blah, blah fancy words. And now you have identified probably the right tools which you need to get trained on. Then what you will do, you will definitely enroll somewhere and then you will start getting trained on that, right? That is called as the learning and development. In the same way, being an HR, one should be knowing that, okay, if my HR feels that, okay, Dr. Manjunath should be promoted to the next level, that is people management, but I may not be having those skills in terms of people management. So what my management will do, my management will definitely send me for a particular training wherein I acquire people skills, how to handle the people. And then after coming back from the training, my management might say, you have been promoted. Now you take the new role. Yes, of course, that is also one of the role which helps in an organization to work for. At the same time, there are some, say, the negative aspects of the people analytics, data privacy. Someone was asking me, when an employee leaves an organization, should we really keep the data? Data privacy is important. What happens is, in an organization, Mr. X will be knowing what Mr. X will be knowing what Mr. Y will be drawing a salary. It should be actually confidential. If data is not confidential, if data is said to be public, then it becomes something like, say, you will not trust someone. There could be possibilities in terms of having a lot of conflicts within the employees or within the teams. And sometimes, if the data is made to be leaked, then there would be something called as non-credibility. There could be a data breach. Those who are working with the bank, they will be knowing that the Chinese wall, which says that no data will be going out. There are some organizations where you cannot carry your handset, you cannot carry your mobile phone inside the company. They'll be giving you a locker where you will be throwing there, and then you'll be getting inside. After your work, you'll take your mobile and then you'll go home. Because they don't want at any point of time their data to be breached. Of course, in the same way, multinational companies are actually very particular that, let's say, if you are working for a Standard Chartered bank as an HR and you have the database of the employees, and now you feel that, okay, let me take this data to my Gmail account. The moment when you send an email, it will be blocked and you will be receiving an alert, and definitely that calls for a challenge. So such kind of alarms are set in place to ensure that the data privacy is taken care. And of course, when we talk about the data, the governance is very much required. And for that reason, we talk about, but at the same time, it has become a greater challenge, because to what extent I can keep the data within myself. See, I cannot keep the knowledge, whatever I have, I'll be sharing it with you. But the data, whatever I have, something which is confidential, I'll have to keep it here. I'll have to keep it closed. It should not be made public. So certainly, these are some of the challenges which we generally see. And now it's time for us to have a Q&A. But before that, uh, let me go back to Mr. Arga. Sir, if you have anything, you can. Let me take.
We have only one Q&A pending. You can answer that.
Yeah.
and we are getting
What
so many appreciation in the chat box. I must tell that we are getting so many good feedbacks. They are actually very much happy with the presentation, and you
Oh,
can
great,
see
sir.
that.
Great.
Yeah. So
I
you
could
can
not.
go ahead and you can answer the question that is being asked in
Yes, sir.
the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me look into that. Unfortunately, I could not see the chat box.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you
If you
for.
want, I can tell it if you want.
No, it's okay, sir. It's okay.
Oh, chat. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What are the hands-on practical steps for analyzing a business data? Timothy, the very first thing to analyze the data is that first, see, understand it this way. As a human being, am I doing good today? To be very frank, I'm not doing good today. Why? I'm suffering from cold. Every now and then I'm going on a stop video and then I'm using my tool here to just make sure that I'm in a presentable mode. Why is that I'm sharing this as an example? Because when you have a data, try to understand what is the data is. When you understand what is the data, if you have the knowledge of the minimum statistics, then that helps you to apply. Let me give a very simple example. You're drawing a salary on a monthly basis. At the same time, you have expenses on monthly basis. Let's say in the last 1 year, you have made a recording of all your expenses which you are making on a month-on-month basis. Now, after 1 year, Timothy, you will be thinking that for my next salary, definitely there will be an increase in the organization because your performance appraisal happened and your salary is getting increased. Now you are thinking that to purchase a car. When you're thinking to purchase a car, you will be taking the average of all the 12 months cost. And then you will say, what is my most likely average cost for a particular year? And then you'll be deducting that from your annual income. And then if you're left with some handsome money, you'll think that, okay, should I go to the purchasing a car or not? In that way, we look at the data and then we deal with that. Yes, I think we are done with the questions.
Uh, there is one question I have noticed.
Sinoda,
Those, yeah, Sinoda.
yeah. Are there any traits that a person should have developed to become highly effective at data analytics? This happens over a period of time, Sinoda. Let me tell you honestly, when I started a transformation in my life towards a tech oriented, that is in simple words, the analytics, at the starting stage, I was feeling so much frustrated because I was not so comfortable with these tools, the techniques, the softwares, downloading, installing, and then browsing, navigating. My God, I was feeling too much frustrated. I realized that I should have patience. On one go, I won't get that. One of the first trait, one of the very first characteristic feature one should have is that patience. Because when we are dealing with the technology is super fast. But our mind is not that super fast. To be very frank, our mind is faster than what the technology is. But we won't use that to that extent. Patience is number one. And then looking at the data, what it is. I'm repeating again and again. I should have a trait of understanding, that is the common sense, that what is that I have in my hand. If I do not understand what is that I have in my hand, then what is that I'm going to apply? That is what the answer is. How do you guard against the cons of HR data analytics? It's all about the monitoring within the organization. When we have the technology in place, at the same time, there are senior officials who will be keeping an eye on understanding what is going, I mean, what is happening within the organization. All the benefits are valid. If you can just see here for that last question, if you can see here, pros. All these points are talking about ensuring that the employees are considered as safe in their hands, and employees are given prominence, employees are appreciated, employees emotions have understood, employees mindset has been understood, to make sure that employee feel that they are on a safe hands. So that is what my answer for that question is. Yes. Sir,
Yeah,
over to
Dr.
you,
Thank
sir.
you.
At the moment, I have no question.
Okay. So I am. Can you give me? You can. So I'm sharing the screen for the time.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yeah.
So thank you. First of all, that was a very insightful topic. I also learned so many things. So thank you. And everyone is very much excited from this PPT, and everyone is uh, very much enjoyed this webinar, and they want if we can arrange another topic related with this topic itself. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Maybe if there is a scope in terms of taking the particular hands-on training, if there is an opportunity, then definitely can be a part of this.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
So before we end this webinar, I would like to give an overview on UniAthena. So UniAthena is a online platform where we give education through online platform. It's offer academics and free courses in a flexible and affordable manner. We are proud to announce that we are partners. We are having partnership with 10 universities and professional qualification authority. Now, our partners or the universities who are actually our partners are UCAM, that is Universidad Católica de Murcia, Abate University, GMU, that is Guglielmo Martin University, SQA, Acacia University, Arizona, uh, Greenview American University, Chartered Management Institute, and Cambridge International Qualification. These are the partners we are affiliated to. So we normally offer the academic programs as the short courses. From academic programs, we have masters, which are masters in supply chain management. We have MBAs, varieties, variation of MBAs like executive MBA, international MBA. We have we have microcredit program as well, and we have doctorate program as well. Some short courses which are free basically, so the learner can access the short courses. There are basics short courses are there, essential short courses are there, mastering short courses are there, diploma, executive diploma, and MBA essentials are there. So what is the reason of choosing Uni Athena? First is the flexible payment. So any learner who is facing any problem, so the payment is not stiff, not they are. It is very much flexible. They can pay at their own pace. The we have personal tutor, so they will always there to help us or help them out. They will be reaching in term of any academic issue. The personal tutor will help them out. The course is completely online, so they won't be facing any kind of issue for resources. It is completely online. They can access it from any platform. It is accredited by good universities, as I discussed earlier. So, like Acacia University is there, UCAM is there, and lastly, it is a self-paced. The learner can learn the module or the courses at their own pace. So, it is we have video lectures. The video lectures are then converted into essential reading, which is the theoretical version of the video lectures. We have additional resources, which is basically the extended version of the video, the essential reading, which the learner can access the author's work and download the thesis and journal from here itself. And we have reference material where the learner can download the PDF and keep it as a handy material for the learning. So you can visit uniathena.com for all the courses that are being offered. And if anyone is interested to take part, or if anyone is interested to do any online courses, they can contact in this email ID admission at the rate uniathena.com or fatima@uniathena.com, and we have the addresses in United Kingdom, in India, and in the Middle East. So, sir, we have questions. You can, I think these are on. There are no questions actually. They are thanking you. Only one question I
Yeah.
think is there.
Is it from
As the scope of technology, like C. They are
let
asking.
me scope of technology like C? Yeah. See, if you have a hands-on experience, especially on programming language like say C, C++, that gets, I mean, that's a kind of a kickstart for you to get a feel saying, okay, I can understand the machine learning programming like say Python or say R, statistical programming language. But one good thing is that when you compare the language like C, C++, they are more complicated. When you compare that with the Python or R, Python and R is something like say you will have a fun because an additional space doesn't cost you much. Closing the bracket doesn't cost you much. It understands and it closes automatically. But in C, C++, you have to. So that is the difference between the C and the other languages. And this is the scope of technology.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
sir, thank you again. It's a very beautiful PPT and very insightful topic, and this is very much needed. What I feel, because the future is all about machine learning, big data, and everything is now converted into data analytics and AI. So it is very much important topic, and thank you for the heads up. We need to be very much aware of this topic, and everyone should be taking care of this topic. It's very much needed. So thank you once again, sir.
Thank you,
And
sir.
thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. You can revisit the webinar through our Uniathena YouTube page. Once again, I can let me just remind you that our short courses are related with this topic as well. Some of them are essential of data analytics, executive diploma of data analytics, and basics of data analytics. Do check us out on uniathena.com. Links are provided. You will definitely receive the certificate of participation via your registered email ID. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir. Thank
you.
you.